Okay. I was just like, can I have that thing? I was like, maybe you should delete that video before, but I also remember that should have plenty of storage. Of course, even with the update I did, it probably will still be like, nope, no storage. So, the earliest library haul it's been for a while, although, no, even last time, because by the time we got home, it was like 4:35, because we had to go to get my dog to the vet. It was kind of like that, okay, well, we'll the vet, we'll go to the library too. But this time I just texted my grandmother, who usually takes me to the mall every other week, and I was like, why not just text her this week? Because I always did once a week with her, so I wasn't like it was more than she was able to do. I should text my mom now. I just realized, tell her that, because it's either been mom, dad, or her. My sister would never even dream of taking them to the library. Okay, so this one I really just got because of ElfQuest, and I'm kind of on like a fantasy kick. And my nephew is gonna be over this weekend because he comes over every other weekend because my sister's boyfriend. I almost said mine. That's gonna happen one time. I'm gonna accidentally say mine, and everyone's gonna think I'm gay, and they're gonna get all the wrong assumptions. And then I'm gonna say I'm not, and I'm gonna get canceled on Twitter for being homophobic because that's how much sense Twitter makes. It's not even a joke, actually. I would do that. But anyways, my sister's boyfriend lives with us now. He wasn't for a little bit, then he is pretty much permanently. So his nephew, he gets his son every other weekend. Why did I just over explain? I don't know, but I got Dark Crystal. Never seen it. It's one that's apparently good for kids. So, oh, it's that movie, the weird puppets. All right, let's check the because this is an older one, and it's in the kids section. So I wonder how scratched it is. It's a big scratch, not a big scratch, but a very noticeable scratch right there. But we played Monsters Inc. on there before, and also Finding Nemo, and both of them played fine. I've had that movie since I was probably 3. Honestly, when the movie first came out on DVD. That's how old it is. So that played fine. Now this is really funny. So if I had gone on Tuesday, it would have been the biggest waste of my time ever because one book came in, and it was Volume 2, and that's the Flintstones Volume 2. Now, I mentioned before that this is the same writer as the Snagglepuss book, but Flintstones was the one that I absolutely had to read. No exceptions, no excuses. Like, read it right now. And I'm like, okay, I'll read it. About the fall, because I have a lot of big stack this week. And obviously, spoilers, Volume 1 is going to be one of these. At least it better be. Because that's how it was listed. Just gonna rip it apart like this. Yeah, it was a DVD for this guy. Or was it? DVD. That's the new Halloween movie, the remake. Well, not the remake. Sorry, the revamp. The Days of, you know how like they did X-Men Days of Future Past. It's kind of like what this is here, ignoring all the sequels, but more than Days of Future Past. It's a direct sequel to the first one. This is a David Gordon Green one, and he's doing an Exorcist sequel, much like with that Halloween movie, how that's a sequel to the first movie. The Exorcist is going to be that too, and it's ignore all the sequels. All right, I just saw Flintstone, which is nice. It was on the. I'm gonna check it now. It was on my account, but I just want to make sure it was Volume 1. Yeah, it's not the same. Volume 1, nice. So Volume 1 and 2. Because it's a 2-volume series, and usually you'll see with one of the books I got directly from the library itself, when there's 2 volumes left of a series, or it's just 2 volumes, I like to binge them both, get them both at the same time. But yeah, apparently this is really good. Flintstones, you would never even think of it. Think about that, being a good movie, being a good book. Good series. Superboy Volume 1, the New 52 series. The Supergirl New 52 series talked about, it was like connected to this book. It was like, oh, this happened in Superboy issue 40. And I was like, okay, should probably start with that series, even though they didn't have the newest volume of Supergirl. Spoilers, I got the Rebirth series. I skipped right to that one. That's pretty much why I was reading that at first, why I got the New 52 book at first. And I just liked the series, was because of the fact that they had the Rebirth series, the local library. I wanted to play catch up. This one is called. What's it called? This one I got because of Philip Kennedy Johnson. It's Kill a Man. Got pretty good reviews. I think it was one of those books that Near Mint Condition really recommended. It was one of them did. Hey, it already says that. Wow, did this just come out? Because it's saying, oh, Philip Kennedy. Yeah, it's weird. They say Philip Kennedy Johnson, and mentioning his Superman run, which just came out. His Captain America run, which, oh, yeah, that one's Empire, so that one just came out too. And Last God, which had just come out. So maybe it's kind of weird. I mean, of course, the first issue of Last God came out in 2019. I actually don't remember when oh, nice, they say chapter 1. It's by chapter, I think. Yes? It is? I don't know. I don't want to waste time, with doing that. Okay, now this side. Hellboy, The Right Hand of Doom. This is Volume 4. For whatever reason, when I was soliciting it, and said, oh, this book's in transit, for whatever reason, in between me inputting the request and it going into transit, I was like, that sounds familiar, not just because I just put it in, because I thought it was Volume 2. But no, Volume 2 is Wake the Devil. That's what it was called. I'm also in because of Last God, and I guess you could say, well, no, Once in the Future, and I guess you could say Last God. I'm kind of in a, what they call it? Like a medieval, like swords and sorcerers kick. So I got Headlopper, which is more of a Viking book. Because when I looked up top 10 Viking books, this was one of them. 4 issues. This is going to be a long series. I thought it was 3 issues, actually, so if anything, it's less than I thought it was initially. And then Volume 7 of Aquaman. Written by Cullen Bunn this time. Now, I think this is the one where everyone hated the artwork. And I think the story, too. Okay, just making sure. I just thought it's kind of like going like light to dark thing. I thought it was just saying, running out of storage, or 10% of battery life remaining. Even though both shouldn't happen, because this is fully charged. And I have good amount of storage. So let's do these 2 at the same time. Actually, these 3, technically. Technically. I did that right. Yes, I did it right. Yeah, I did. Okay. I was making sure that Star Wars one I did right. Because I'm so this one is Star Wars Darth Vader, and I'm on, this is Volume 4, this is Volume 3. I'm on Volume 3, clearly. And for Star Wars, I'm on Volume 4, because somehow, Star Wars, that's why, because I was on Volume 1, that's why. Because I started on Volume 1, but then took a break because I wasn't a huge fan of this Jason Aaron run. Went back on it for Volume 2, and now I'm one further than I am for Darth Vader. That makes sense. Because I didn't get that in Darth Vader at the same time. They didn't have Volume 1, and then they finally did have it back in stock. And I was like, okay, I'll get it. Supergirl Rebirth, as I mentioned before. This one I'm sure is on Prime Reading. In fact, I know it's on Prime Reading. But I already have a bunch of books to finish, and then once I finish those, I'm going to replace them with other ones, because a bunch of books are coming in. So I was like, I'm never going to read this, I might as well just get the library, and that is Archie, the Mark Waid series that I really liked. What was I going to mention about it? I read it before, but it was a long time ago. I think it was like junior or senior year of high school, and that was like 4 years ago almost now. 4 to 5 years ago, because I'm senior year in college right now. So yeah, basically 4 years. And finally, last but certainly not the least, because I've read this before, and that is Superior by Mark Millar. Very underrated Mark Millar book. It's not like the best ever or anything like that, but it's really good, honestly. It's the best miniseries of the year, according to USA Today. The people I've never listened to, because it's just like reporters and, the media. There we go. That's what not reporters. The word I was looking for is media. I don't really trust the media. Media's take. I'd sooner trust Nearman Condition on a book than them. And of course, that's to be said. It's a given, anyways. It was actually a book that he was talking about just today. Actually, I just finished a video right before I left. Was he had really hated the America Chavez run, that 2015 series, like the one that when it came, that just had a sequel because it is that bad. It just now decided to have a sequel to it, which is better. It's the Gabriella Riviera, I think, or Gabriella Riviera. Even he hated that book. That's how bad it was. And he likes Ironheart. I do take his opinion sometimes. Like, if I have nothing to lose, I'm like, okay, I'll get it. Ultimates, I got like good reviews, and even he said it was good on like a bunch of books too. But I don't really take. If I'm not sure about a book, I don't usually take his opinion to heart. Of course, I did that with Far. Of course, I did do that with Far Sector, but that's because two places said it was good. All right, let's just get on. Speaking of recommendations, let's get right on to that. My Hero Academia Volume 2. You didn't see Volume 3 because I didn't have Volume 3 or 4. It was Volume 5 to 11, and then 1 and 12 2 will be returned. It must be a popular series now, because I didn't see Volume 1 for the longest time, so I probably have to play catch up. I don't think I will have to. I liked it, but it's not as good as the first one. I think it's more because of, like, you don't forget your first time. That's what she said. I always think of that Deadpool quote when I hear that, because as soon as the sequel came out, the tagline was "You never forget your first time" because of the first movie. And that's how I feel about this book. It's because the first volume was so different than what I'm used to. One of the first manga I've ever read. And it was just like all those factors made it so I really liked that first volume. I don't know how you say that, but made it so I really liked that first volume. And this one was good. It was still entertaining. Nothing was worse. No, it was just kind of like the same. And I liked it. It was a little bit more confusing this time because there's a lot going on. And it's very, very, very fast-paced. A little bit too fast-paced for me at times. We were like, oh, wait, we're right here right now? Oh, I thought we were just over here. Oh, wait, no, we're here. Okay. You can kind of have like, okay, no, we're here. It was a lot of jumping around. But they kind of had to do that. I'd rather than have to do that and then to have them talk about their feelings. Like how a lot of modern books do nowadays for mainstream comics. Dragon Hoops. I'm glad I finally finished it. I finished all of it. I powered through it. From now on, when I don't like a book, and I like this one, but I'm just saying, when I stop reading a book, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to finish this. No, I'm like, you're finishing it. I say this to myself. You're finishing it right now. You're going to regret not finishing it. So let's do it right now. So yeah, that's kind of my mentality with that. And I finished it, and I liked it. I didn't love it. Everyone that has read Dragon Hoops absolutely loves it. They're like, oh my god, it's like basketball, but he's also a comic book guy like me. He reads comics, I read comics, I automatically relate to this character. And it's like, that's it? I'm sure it's not it, but it's kind of, it makes, it does make it better that Jean Louise Yang grew up with comic books like a lot of people did, reviewing the book. So, it makes sense. But, other than that, it's just a story about basketball. The first time I had read this, I actually put in that book now, the American-born Chinese book. That's his biography. This one wasn't. I thought, for whatever reason, that Dragon Hoops was his autobiography, but it's a story about the time he was not a basketball coach, but it's kind of like a fourth wall break in of itself. He's writing about the time he wrote about a book. He's writing for a book about his local high school's basketball team. So it's kind of like an in joke, not in joke, and you know what I mean. Which I found kind of funny. It's kind of like he's writing about his local high school basketball team. And it's just like, I'm not a big fan of sports books. Sports movies either. The only sports movies I've seen are Blindside, which is probably my favorite. It's kind of very, very cookie cutter. I mean, it's honestly, like, they're I don't know why they made a joke about it. It could have been Family Guy or Simpsons. Hell, it could have been Simpsons. They made a joke about how it's very, like, about how it was more about the story about the mother than about I'm reviewing at this point, about the kid, but I still liked it. So that one, and then Remember the Titans, which I also liked. So I'm not a big sports fan, and I think that's what kind of led to me not like this book. But now that it was near my condition, and he loves that book. He probably would be ecstatic to even have Jin Lubin Yang as an interviewer. But this one I was just kind of like, not my thing. Eh. It's kind of a funny story. I've seen it for the second time. It's a good movie. I only recommend it to people who are who like dramedy comedies. You know, it's kind of a romance too, bit of that too. It's not like an action-packed movie or anything like that. No, it's very like low-key movie. Aquaman Volume 6. If it hadn't been for me, apparently Volume 8, which I don't think it does. I thought Volume 8 was Dan Jurgens. I think it may not be Dan Jurgens' run. Actually, if anything, it was probably Aquaman and the others. That was Dan Jurgens. And I wanted to play catch-up, read New 52 series before getting back onto Rebirth. Getting on Rebirth. And the completest to me is the only reason why I'm reading this series. Because Aquaman Volume 6 was so damn boring. Jeff Parker was not a good follow-up to Jeff Johns. I almost wish Jeff Parker was first, and then it was Jeff Johns, because I probably would have liked his run a bit better, Jeff Parker's run. But even then, I knew it wouldn't be as good as Jeff Johns' run, you know. But it was just really boring. A lot of dialogue. One of them took me like a whole. I think it took me like 40 minutes to read, when usually it only takes me a half hour to read. And it was just a regular issue. It wasn't. It could have been, but I don't think it was any longer than your average comic book issue. Supergirl, I'm really upset they didn't have Volume 4, because I really liked Volume 3, even though it was just Mike Johnson and not Michael Green. It was still as good, if not. It was as good. It was a little bit less good, but it wasn't like noticeably bit worse. No, it was still as good. And then, yeah, I was just like, there was nothing wrong with this series so far, and I was like, damn. Now I have to get onto Rebirth series, so time will tell if I like the Rebirth series at all better. More. Hadrian's Wall. Had it not been for Kyle Higgins, I probably would have dropped the book or if I just wasn't a completist to read the whole entire book. Because this was a bit slower. There was no reason for it to take place on a spaceship in space, is what the fall. Or there was no reason for it to be I think it was set in like the future or something? I don't know. But it was kind of a weird setting for a murder mystery. It was just... I lost for words, apparently. I was kind of distracted. But it was kind of like... It was one of those books that didn't need to be as long as it was either. I think... And also, that was another thing. There was so many characters. It was like... You only cared about like few of them. I wish it more, and it does. Like it focuses on the main two characters, more than anyone else. But it's kind of like the other characters are kind of like unnecessary. I wish it had just been them three, because when you find out who actually did it, mild spoilers. I'm not gonna say who it was, but mild spoilers. I'll put my hand up again. It's very disappointing. Very disappointing. All right. Anyways, So it was good enough. You know, I know that Kyle Higgins is worthy of a lot better. Definitely. Hellboy. Hellboy was actually much better than I remember it being. I took a long break from once I read Volume 2, because I was like, this is not my thing. But Volume 3 gave me exactly what I wanted out of a Hellboy book. Fast-paced dialogue, fast-paced story with not a whole lot of dialogue at times. Some of them had more dialogue than the others. Not every story. It's a bunch of short stories. Not every story was as good as the other, even though they all written by the same guy. Actually, they were. But I liked it. It was very, very enjoyable. But it was still like, you know, the worser stories, the suckier stories weren't as bad. Like, they weren't terrible. They didn't make it go down at all or anything like that. No, it's still good. Superman Secret Origin, just as good as I remember it. I still do prefer Secret Origin over Birthright, which I know is blasphemous because everyone says that Birthright is the best retelling of Superman's origin story. But so far, I like Secret Origins best. I mean, Birthright, I liked a lot better the second time. They're very, very close to one another. It would be like if I had to make a top 10 Superman books, and I included those, I'd probably just put them in the same spot. I wouldn't even care. I'd be like, nope, this is my list, so I can do that. That's what I would do. That's why I don't do top 10 lists, because there's never, like, you always will change your opinion after you upload it. Like, the second I upload it, like, nah, I should put this here and that there. That's why I don't do top 10. I just do, I like these books, and I like these books, and there you go, Vader Down. Good. I kind of wish I'd read it before the Star Wars books. I feel like I'm still gonna be a bit confused. But even though I had read the previous volume, but it was good. I didn't mind having to read the crossover series event book because they included all the tie-ins. Because there's only 2 Star Wars books going on at the time. I think it was just 2. Powers, another book that's not available. They said that they might try and get it to me, but I doubt they're gonna be able to find it. Usually what that means is that they might, but they probably won't be able to find it. But I can... Oh yeah, one thing I want to mention about this book. The one thing I don't like about this series has nothing to do with the series itself. It has to do with the mapping of the book. It's one of those books where they just do not put the covers before the issues. So, it's like, why not just say chapter 1? But they have the covers at the end. So they could have had the covers there, and it would just take out, because it was Image, and it was a property of Image, and it moved back to Marvel. It's Marvel first, then Icon. I think now Image owns the rights to Powers. So they couldn't put the Icon or Marvel logo on there, obviously. But they could have just taken that off and then still had the covers there. Because some of the covers were really damn good. Like, it was they did a lot of homage covers. It was like really cool covers. I wish I had put it before the book. For the issue itself. That's a huge nitpick of mine, but the problem is because it was originally Marvel and it was Image and all that junk, they couldn't put the single issues on Comixology. That's what I want to say is the reason we don't have the single issues on Comixology. They just have the collections. So I had to go to a very not great site to look up when the issue starts. I'm not gonna say too much about that, but I'm so OCD about it. I can't just count the pages and say, okay, I think this is where it ends. No, I wanted to make damn sure that that's where the issue ended. Again, huge nitpick of mine. And honestly, it was only 4 issues. I could have read the whole thing in one sitting. Honestly, I could have. The only thing I don't like about the book also is, and this actually has to do with the book, is there's a lot of dialogue at times. But this one was a lot better than the first volume because they knew when to have a bunch of dialogue, and then they knew when to actually have fast-paced action. One of the issues was almost all splash pages and like splash panels. You know what I mean? Like splash panels, splash pages. That same diff. Iron Man Volume 1 by Bendis. One of the books I wasn't too distraught over them not having Volume 2. They had Volume 3 at my local library, so I was hoping they would at least have Volume 1 and 2. Obviously. So I could read that entire series. At least that first series. But it wasn't one I see myself continuing, really. I continue it, just to finish it. Because it was only 15 plus issues, 3 volumes. But it was just kind of like, alright. It wasn't terrible at all. It's one of Bendis' better books that he wrote, in his later years. But it was still kind of like, alright. I mean, it didn't ruin the character at all like they're doing now in the comics, so I guess it's better than it's been in a long time. One of the best modern Iron Man books, I guess you would say, technically say, because after that, it was all bad. We had Dan Slott, then we had Christopher Cantwell. And then, last but not least, the final volume of TMNT, the hardcover black and white originals from Mirage Studios, the really old ones. They were all short stories, and they were pretty good. Some of them were super quick, and kind of what I like to call a nothing burger book, because there was no real plot to it. It was just kind of like a quick little, story. But none of them were bad. They're all pretty good. Some were a bit slower than others. There were certainly some that I would not read again, but most of them I would. If they ever made a complete collection, an actual complete collection of the early days of TMNT, include all those missing issues, I'd get that, honestly, and have be my favorite so far TMNT series. The IDW current series, I feel like is too different from it's gonna be too different from the black and white stuff. I read the free comic book day issues, and I just gave them to my nephew after I read them. Not right after I read them. You get the idea. They're his now, basically, and it's not one of those books I'd ever consider going back into and reading. That's it. 240. I gotta get on ElfQuest. I haven't enough time. ElfQuest has been taking me an hour and a half to read now, so it probably actually doesn't matter when I finish it. But yeah. But yeah, you'll get those two. That one and Animal Man. You'll get like probably this at the end of this month, maybe beginning December. I may even have to renew the book or ask to get the book renewed. I can basically do it off the I want to check this too. I can basically do that off of the website too, like where I put the books in, which is really nice. Oh yeah, it looks like it's in perfect condition. No scratches, no visible scratches. The only reason why I like getting Blu-rays over DVDs is because of the scratches, and sometimes they have more special features and that kind of junk. So it does say it has deleted and extended scenes. And this is oh no, it's the Blu-ray DVD one, so time will tell if the DVD has the deleted scenes. Which, honestly, I didn't watch it in all the other movies I got. It was the, for funny story, I didn't do that. And it's like, sometimes there's like 20 minutes, and like, after a longer movie, I'm like, I don't want to sit through 20 minutes of deleted scenes. But that's it. Next week, 30 minutes, because I talked so much about the, got so sidetracked. That's it. Next week it will be Mall, hopefully on Thursday or Friday next week, and of course this too. I actually gotta put some books in right now. That's it.